back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you this cute matte ombre tutorial. I hope you guys enjoy. So I'm starting off with, of course, my favorite primer by NARS, the Pore and Shine Control, and I'm putting that all over her face, especially over her brows. I'm picking up my Absolute New York Slim Brow Pencil in the shade Smoke, and I am carving out her brows, of course, starting at the bottom to create that arch. We're doing a soft arch today, and yeah, I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of this, and then I'll return with more commentary. So please remember, when you're doing your client's brows, you always want to hold up at the arch. This is the most assured way to really get that good symmetry going. By holding at the arch, both brows are leveled, and that's a great tip to use. Now, as you can see, as I'm bringing the pencil forward more to the center of her face, I'm getting lighter with my strokes. That's to create more of a natural brow so it's not so boxy in the front. Now I picked up my Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Tan Deep Sand, and I am just placing that right on the tail of her brow, right on top of the brow bone under the arch. Once you have created that lining, you want to bring that concealer all the way down to her lid. Of course, we're going to use that as a backup base for the eyeshadow. Now I'm taking the shade, I believe this is deep, but I'm going to leave it down in the description box below. I'm nowhere near my products, I'm sorry. And I am bringing that down. I wanted to make that tailbone just a little bit lighter, so I definitely picked up my Tan Sand on top of the Tan Deep Sand just to make that brow bone a little bit lighter. Taking my Morphe 504 brush, and I am just smoothing everything out across the lid. I want it to be completely smooth, of course, and fixing up any imperfections that I see. By the way, the brush that I'm using is my MAC 195 brush. That is my baby. You will probably never see me use another brush because it's just so perfect and flat. This is the synthetic brush. This is the older model though. The new ones I believe is vegan. This one isn't. So just wanted to let you guys know about that. But they do still have this brush. Again, bringing that concealer all the way down. Now, when you start to conceal the top of the brow, you definitely want to take your time. You don't want to speed. I always tell my students, you know, slow and steady wins the race. You would be so much more satisfied if you take your time as opposed to just speeding through, trying to hurry up and finish. You could always revise. I always go back to my brows even after the foundation is on to revise if I did, you know, go a little too fast. I'm taking that Morphe 504 brush, and I'm just buffing out the concealer on top of her forehead. This video is moving pretty fast, I'm sorry, but I'm taking the shade Deep in the Tarte Shape Tape, and I am concealing the top brow. Again, taking that Morphe 504 brush, keeping it nice and close so I could buff out as I go along. This is going to help to smooth out the foundation, and it won't be any harsh lines when the concealer starts to dry, being as though we do that first. So it's always good to just buff out that concealer, make sure it's nice and smooth. Now I'm taking my P.Louise Rumor base in the shade 0, of course, and I'm placing that right on top of her lid, getting that super smooth. We're doing a matte look today, so there's no room for mistakes. I just want to buff that out as smooth as possible. I picked up my Anastasia Single Shadow in the shade Brick, and I am just tapping that right on my client's lid. And I'm going in a circular motion. I'm not coming too high off the lid. You want to kind of stay close, but definitely do that up and down tapping motion. This is the best way to achieve that color payoff that you need. I am now taking out of the Morphe 3503 palette the Ferocious shade, and I'm placing that right on top of that brick color with my M433 brush. I didn't use a transition shade with this look, so this is going to help create that gradient effect on top. It's a little bit darker than the brick, lighter than the brick color, I'm sorry. Now I picked up a clean blending brush, and I'm just buffing out the top so it's not so harsh right underneath the brow bone. Now I picked up my MAC 195 brush again, as well as my P.Louise Rumor base, and I am beginning to carve out her cut crease. I am taking my time. The video is a little bit sped up, but trust me, when you carving out your cut crease, you want to take your time. You want to always lift at the arch to really get that crease shape. A great tip to get that crease shape for your client is to have her open her eyes, of course. Wherever you see the top of her lid showing once her eyes is open, that's where you know where to cut the crease. For another tip is you could always place the base or the concealer at the bottom of her lid, allow her to look up, and then that mark will show you where you need to cut your crease. Now I'm bringing that primer down into the cut crease. I wanted to get it as smooth as possible. Again, we are using matte colors, so we don't want any patches. I'm taking my M504 brush, and I'm again smoothing that out so we don't have any harsh lines or that it's wet. We want to get this dry, a little bit tacky. I went over my base color a little bit, so I just picked up that brick color just to kind of reapply that. Again, I'm doing the same thing to the other eye. I picked up a flat eyeshadow brush, and I just want to bring that base down wherever I see those thick lines of the base. I just want to bring it down to get it as smooth as possible. Now I picked up my M433 brush, and I got in the shade Trance in that same Morphe 3503 palette, and I'm just patting that right on top of that base. With matte colors, you definitely want to tap, that way the color really shows up, it picks up. Now I went into the color Flame Game, which is row 2 of the Morphe 3503 palette, and I'm just tapping that right on top of that Trance color. We're going to do an ombre cut crease, so you're going to see me go back and forth between the light color and the orange color, just to kind of create that great ombre effect. I am also using different brushes. As you see, I'm not picking up the same brush because that's how you get your colors to mix and it looks like one color as opposed to two. We're going to be doing a total of 4 colors on her lid, but you would probably only see 3 just because of the way I'm blending it out. Now I'm picking up a clean M433 brush in the shade Ignition, which is like a matte mahogany color, and I'm placing that right on top of that Flame Game color, again alternating between all 3 brushes to get that nice gradient effect. I want to close that crease a little bit so it looks almost like a half cut crease. So I'm using that Ignition color to kind of close that gap. Now doing this process, you always want to keep your brushes handy. You don't want to really put them down, have to constantly go back and forth. That will play into your time management doing your client. So you want to keep all 3 brushes handy, so that way when it's time for you to alternate, you don't have to go far. You can do it quick, boom, boom, boom. You'll see me constantly picking up her head. This is my best friend, and she is so hard head. She does it subconsciously though, so I can't even get mad at her, but she has this tendency of putting her head down. So you'll see me throughout the video constantly lifting her head up so you guys can get a better view, because I told you, I promised you guys that I would try to get this one better than the first one. So again, I am creating that ombre effect with those 3 colors: Trance, Flame Game, and Ignition. And I wanted it a little darker, so I picked up my Morphe M514 brush, and I picked up the shade Jolt, which is like a smoky taupe color towards the outer corner. I then picked up White Gold by JLaRue. It's like a very fine shimmery pigment, loose shimmery pigment, and I just wanted to place that directly on top of that trance shade just to kind of create that pop that you need. I picked up my Sephora eyeliner, high precision eyeliner, and I am of course tracing out her wing liner and filling in the inside. On my previous video I told you guys a quick tip to get that great wing liner. You always want to trace it out and then color it in. That's the best way. Use your pinky as an anchor to really get that straight line. Don't be afraid to go to the other side. A quick tip that I use is when I do the right eye, I go to the left side to get a better, a more aligned wing. When I do the left eye, I go to the right side. So it's easier to just alternate between the two, in my opinion. This is a very super matte eyeliner. I love this eyeliner. Out of all the liners that I've had, this is probably the top. For real, it takes the cake. So again, I'm drawing a nice sharp wing liner, and I picked up my e.l.f. hydrating camo concealer in the shade medium beige, and I just want to close out any imperfections that I see within her winged liner, and bring that concealer down so it's not so caked up once we apply the foundation. I'm now picking up my Black Radiance Kajal eyeliner, which is like a smooth cream eyeliner. I love to use it on the waterline. You have to be very careful because it can transfer very easily depending on your clients. If their eyes are super sensitive, I would not recommend that. If you have it and their eyes are super sensitive, you could always go on top of it with a black shadow to kind of lock it into place. I picked up my e.l.f. makeup remover and I just cleaned up any fallout underneath her eye. Now I'm picking up my black Opal foundation stick. Of course, these are my favorites in the shade Toasted Chestnut, as well as Hazelnut right on top, right above that, and then I'm using Truly Topaz right in the center. Picking up my Real Techniques Instapop foundation brush, and I am pressing this foundation into her skin. As you guys know, I'm a 1-2-3 type of girl, so I like to use a darker on the perimeter, a medium color in the middle, and then the very lightest in the center of her face. I'm not using my Real Techniques blending brush just to take away any oils that cream foundation may have created and to just smooth out her foundation. Now I'm using my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Deep as her under eye highlight and on top of her brow. I still had some of that light concealer on my brush. That's why the forehead is looking a little bit lighter, but don't worry, it's going to blend out fine. Again, this is my very aesthetically pleasing portion of the video, of course, carving out the top brow. And this is our final time we revise our eyebrow to make sure they're as symmetrical as possible. Highlighting all the important areas, the T-zone, the chin, and the forehead, of course, the nose. Now I'm using a lighter color, which is the Tan Deep Sand, right on top. I just wanted to make that under eye a little bit brighter. I'm bringing that color all the way down to the bridge of her nose, but I'm stopping directly in the middle. I don't like to bring my nose highlight too far down. Now I'm using my Real Techniques setting brush, which is a tapered brush, and I'm pressing that concealer in to get that smooth under eye finish. Again, working with the edges first and then going into the center of her face. Again, smoothing out every area that we highlighted. Now I'm taking my Black Radiance foundation stick in the shade Suede Mocha to give her a nice contour under the cheekbone, jawline, forehead, and of course the nose. I'm using the short side of my Real Techniques blending beauty blender to blend out everything into her skin. I like to use the long side of the beauty blender for highlight and the short side for contour. It just works best for me. I went and got my Instapot blush brush to blend out her contour, and you'll see me going back and forth between a beauty blender and the brush. That helps my makeup, my client's makeup, get so seamless. So when you're blending out your nose contour, you definitely want to bring that contour into the sockets of your eyes. This complements the face and just kind of snatches it all together. I'm using my Real Techniques. I believe this is I'm not sure which brush this is, but I only use it for the nose. I'll leave it in the description box below. And I picked up my Black Radiance powder contour kit from medium to dark, and I just went around the areas that I contoured. Now I'm using my Sacha Buttercup setting powder, and I am pressing that into her skin with my beauty blender. Again, I rarely bake my clients under eye. I always set. To me, that gives the best results. The only thing that I bake would be the cheek contour and the bridge of her nose. Now, sis has some serious laugh lines, so I'm going to set those laugh lines, of course. Picking up my MAC eyeshadow in the shade Carbon, and I'm just going to smoke out the outer corner of her lower lash line. We're going to be doing a dragged liner, so I don't want to smoke out the entire lash line. Using my Black Radiance Baked Blush in the shade Raspberry right on the apples of her cheeks. Now I am picking up my foundation brush, and I'm just blending everything together so there isn't any harsh lines and everything looks as seamless as possible. Again, picking up my Real Techniques setting brush, and I'm just pressing that setting powder wherever I set. I'm pressing that into her skin, not wiping it away, but pressing it into her skin so you get that flawless matte look. Now, if you notice, I'm taking my foundation brush, and as I'm pressing it into her skin, I'm also wiping away the areas that I baked, which would be the cheek contour as well as the bridge of her nose. This is again to create that seamless finish. Now I'm taking that Sephora eyeliner, and like I told you guys, we were doing a dragged out liner, so I just went ahead and dragged out that liner in the inner corner. Taking my Kiss lash glue, and I'm placing some lash glue right underneath, and taking some glitter from Glow Up Academy. I believe this is the glitter Eiffel Tower, and I just placed that right underneath that liner to give it a nice pop. Spraying with some continuous setting mist, of course, and taking my foundation brush and pressing that mist in. We don't want any water beads to dry on her face. We want to press that in. This is to bring back that warmth and color to her face. By the way, you guys, my all over face powder was MAC's Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark. Now I'm using my favorite Maybelline Stay Matte lipstick in the shade Protector. I'm gonna switch up the lips, but at least I didn't do a gloss this time. I did do a matte, and I'm outlining her lips, and then I will be using a Anastasia lipstick, matte lipstick in the shade Pure Hollywood in the center of her lips. Finishing her off with Morphe's Continuous Setting Mist. Now I am using my Too Faced You Light Up My Life highlighter compact. She gets on my nerves, and I'm putting that right on the apples of her cheeks, as well as blending that out with a foundation brush. For the second highlight, of course, I'm going to be using Secure Cosmetics highlighter in the shade Glow the F Up. I'm going to be putting that on the bridge of her nose and the tip of her nose. Now, we lost a little blush, so I went back again with that blush brush. No extra product, just whatever product was left on, just to bring that blush back. I just wanted to brush her hairs right into place. I didn't put any products on her brows whatsoever. This is the completed look. I hope you guys really enjoyed this nice, clean, matte look. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. I will be sure to answer. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thumbs this video up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.